Hello, Patriots. I'm Lee Watts, and this is Patriot Point, your source for Kentucky news and analysis from a conservative, Christian, and common sense point of view. You may notice my voice is a little stronger than it was last week. Still not up to normal, but thank you for everybody who's been praying for that, and hopefully it'll be all the way better by next week. But we still got a lot of news for you this week. This week in particular, we have a scandal that involves Mitch McConnell. We're going to be exposing some things that are probably going to be quite eye-opening and shocking to a lot of Kentuckians. We're going to be connecting some dots for you, and I think this is going to have a huge impact. And then we're going to explain how all of this news is going to impact the Kentucky governor's election next year. But before we start connecting all of those dots, I want to mention our sponsor this week. Our sponsor this week is an app for your phone or your tablet called Murder by the Numbers. It's an application where you use math and logic to make all of your deductions. I actually am the person who made this app. It's absolutely free. You can get it on the Google Play Store now, and I hope it'll be a lot of fun for you. Well, let's start connecting some dots here and explaining how Mitch McConnell has just got busted this week in one of the biggest, if not the biggest, money scandal that's ever been in American history. It's going beyond America's shores. First of all, let's talk about here earlier this year. Mitch McConnell, leader of the Republicans in the Senate, he leads them to vote yes to send billions of dollars to the Ukraine. Now, everybody remember this? Also remember, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul voted no. He's like, listen, this sounds like a money laundering scheme to me. Sound that way to a bunch of us. He didn't like it. He voted no. But Mitch McConnell, he said, no, let's go ahead and send Ukraine billions of dollars of U.S. taxpayer money. Now, the Ukraine gets this money. Now, here's something incredible. Ukraine doesn't spend the money. If I was in a state of war where I was being invaded, likely to be conquered, I would probably spend that money to buy food or fuel or ammunition or weapons, something to help the cause of the war or to help your people. However, Ukraine doesn't do that with the money. What Ukraine did is they invested it in this company called FTX. Now, let me explain where FTX is. So we got Mitch saying, let's send all this money to Ukraine. We got Ukraine not spending the money, instead investing it into FTX. FTX is owned by this guy by the name of Sam Bankman-Fried. And here's something interesting about this guy. He is the second biggest contributor in the whole world in donating to the Democratic Party. George Soros is number one, and this guy is number two. Just this year, he has donated $37,725,000 to Joe Biden, Democratic causes, candidates, and the leftist agenda. But in addition to this guy sending all of this money to the Democrats, this guy over at FTX also sent Mitch McConnell money. That's right. He sent him more than $2 million. It was $2,500,000. So Mitch says, let's send all this money to Ukraine. There were conservatives in the Senate say, no, this doesn't sound right. But Mitch says, send it. Ukraine doesn't spend it. They invested in FTX. FTX gives millions of dollars to the Democrats and Mitch McConnell. Here's a little form where you can look it up. And you'll see here, this is Mitch's campaign where he's trying to take Senate leadership, which he just got on Wednesday again. And sure enough, FTX sent him $2.5 million. But this isn't the only money scandal Mitch McConnell has found himself in the middle of this week. It has just been found out that Mitch McConnell has been pulling money away from Republican candidates who were winning because they weren't going to support him to be leader. And he would rather have a Democrat in office than to have a Republican who refused to support him as the ruler of the party. Don't take my word for it. Let's hear from some senators. Let's hear now a radio interview from Texas Senator Ted Cruz, one of the most conservative members of the Senate. And this week, in this interview, I'm going to play for you. He just calls out Mitch McConnell for exactly what he has done. He is causing Republicans to lose control of the Senate so that he can keep his own power, putting his power above the Republican Party and the good of the American people. But again, don't take my word for it. Here is Senator Ted Cruz.
If you look at this last cycle, Mitch McConnell pulled the money out of Arizona. We could have won Arizona. We nearly won Arizona. And abandoning Blake Masters was indefensible.
Why did that happen? I got to ask you, because everybody is going to say the same thing I am right now. Explain to me, Senator, why in a race where the polling showed that we had a legitimate chance of winning there, why did he pull out that money from Masters, who desperately needed it?
Because Masters said he would vote against Mitch McConnell. And so Mitch would rather be leader than have a Republican majority. If there's a Republican who can win who's not going to support Mitch, the truth of the matter is he'd rather the Democrat win.
How's that for a scathing indictment? Just plainly saying Mitch McConnell would rather have Democrats in charge than have Republicans who aren't going to support him ruling the party. Remember, McConnell did not support Trump, and he tried to backstab Trump at every chance that he got. It was McConnell when Bevin had his election against Andy Beshear, and there was some screwy counting going on. We covered it here on the program, where on live television, supposedly on election nights, the votes go down for Bevin and they go up for Andy Beshear by the exact same number at the exact same instant. And who called Bevin repeatedly at the Capitol building was Mitch McConnell, telling him concede, concede, concede. Why? Because Matt Bevin had run against Mitch McConnell for Senate, and he would rather have a Democrat in office than somebody who dared oppose his ruling position. And keep this in mind as well. Here just this year, the National Republican Party said that they are going to censure. Censure means we are no longer associated with you. We don't recognize you as a Republican because you're so liberal. The Republican Party censured Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. They said, listen, you're not even Republicans based on what you are doing with their involvement in the January 6th mock trials and other votes. So Mitch McConnell, though, he didn't like his liberal senators being censured. So what did he say? He said about this, the party shouldn't be singling out members of Congress based on their political positions. Are you crazy? That's exactly what the party is supposed to be doing. It's saying, listen, your political positions do not match with the principles of our party. But Mitch McConnell's like, hey, let's not call people out because of doing that. And here's the reason why, because he's guilty of it too. And he is being censured by the Republicans of Kentucky. These are different counties in Kentucky right now where the Republican Party has voted to censure Mitch McConnell. They've said, listen, we're going to take a vote and we say, Mitch McConnell, we don't even recognize you as a Republican. And this has been voted on the Republican parties and approved in Hart County, Caldwell County, Crittenden County, Hopkins County, Butler County, Hardin County, Breckinridge County, LaRue County, Jessamine County, Franklin County, Owen County, Grant County, Boone County, Harrison County, Bourbon County, Elliott County, Marshall County, Floyd County, and Campbell County. I bet a whole lot of Kentuckians didn't realize that these different Kentucky counties have done that this year because of a lot of the different votes that Mitch McConnell's been casting up there in Congress, including votes to take gun rights away and all kinds of things that the news isn't telling you about. So yes, he is being censured here in the state of Kentucky. He is not even recognized as a Republican by a lot of Republican county parties. President Trump also has been giving Mitch McConnell a hard time this week. Notice what Trump said about McConnell, talking about the midterm elections and how there wasn't a red wave. President Trump said plainly, it's Mitch McConnell's fault. He blew the midterms, spending money to defeat great Republican candidates instead of backing Blake Masters, and others was a big mistake. Giving $4 trillion to the radical left for the Green New Deal, not infrastructure, was an even bigger mistake. That's right. McConnell, he said, yeah, let's go ahead and fund the Green New Deal. And remember, earlier this year, it was been about a year ago, where McConnell could have stopped this giant debt ceiling increase that Biden wanted. He could have stopped it, but he didn't. He told the Republicans to get away. Notice what President Trump said about that. He said, quote, McConnell could have stopped it. Instead, he told Republicans to get out of the way and let Democrats do it. Mitch McConnell has just conceded for absolutely nothing and for no reason. The powerful debt ceiling negotiating bloc, which was the Republicans' first-class ticket for victory over the Democrats. So here we have President Trump and Senator Cruz just calling it out very plainly, saying Mitch McConnell has cost us several good candidates to lose their races because he pulled the money away from them. And he did this to multiple candidates who could have won because they wouldn't swear allegiance to Mitch McConnell. And instead of doing what's best for the party, he's doing what's best for him personally. That is not a good thing. And how's this going to affect now the Republican governor's race? We've got a lot of Republicans right now seeking the nomination. But as we just noticed, as we read that list, there is a rapidly increasing list of Republican parties throughout the state that are saying, we don't recognize you as a Republican anymore, Mitch, because of the way that you have been voting, standing up and defending Liz Cheney, standing against President Trump, pulling money from Republican candidates, giving to the Democrats, having the biggest Democratic donator also donate to you. All these things are kind of screwy. So I think whoever might get Mitch's endorsement for governor might not actually be wanting that, because that might turn out to be costing them more votes than it might really earn them. Well, that's why I hope you tune in to Patriot Point each and every week, because you're sure not going to hear this on the mainstream media. Don't forget to go to the Google Play Store and download our sponsor game this week, Murder by the Numbers. And until next week, I'm Lee Watts for Patriot Point, reminding you that liberty is not a spectator sport.